Now, President Biden marked the occasion with a speech at the Capitol today.
News 13's Rex Hodge spoke to people in the mountains about January 6th, 1 year later.
Just what do people think about January 6th a year ago? We took that question to people on the streets, party leaders, and a political expert here in the mountains.
I think it was a bad situation. It don't matter how you voted or anything.
Well, I think the world right now is in bad shape. Just COVID, the election.
Politics has gotten so dirty. It's very sad.
In a politically divided country, there's at least agreement that America finds itself in a tough place, but little agreement on President Biden's speech on the 1-year anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. Haywood County's Democratic Party chair.
Well, I thought it was his strongest speech yet.
The county's Republican Party chair.
I don't agree with pretty much any of it except that something happened.
It was more forceful against Trump than any speech that I recall Biden having since the election.
Western Carolina University political analyst Chris Cooper says Biden came out swinging.
He went after the former president and connected January 6th to these larger questions about democracy. This was, we need to confront the cause of January 6th, and he tied that cause directly to the former president.
Haywood GOP chair Kay Miller believes there's more information to learn.
If you happen to see Tucker Carlson's Patriot Purge, there's a lot of information in there.
Her Democratic counterpart, Myrna Campbell, believes Biden is revealing the truth.
As he says, to heal, you have to acknowledge. I think the work of the January 6th committee is doing that.
Do you think his speech will have a healing effect?
I definitely don't think it'll have a healing effect. I would certainly expect, as I think we all would, for former President Trump to take some shots back.
Cooper studies public opinion.
57% of Americans believe Trump deserves a great deal or some of the blame for January 6th. I think that shows maybe there is slightly more unity than we sometimes act like there is.
Our country needs peace. Any way you look at it, we need peace.
Political differences will remain, of course, but there's a lot of consensus about moving forward with more kindness.
Vigils were held across the country tonight, 1 year after the attack on the U.S. Capitol.
Several taking place right here in western North Carolina, as News 13's Hannah McKenzie has details.
One of those vigils taking place right here in Pack Square despite the rainy and cold conditions. Another taking place in Polk County where participants showed support for those who took part in the riot. 1 year following the riot at the U.S. Capitol. Many reflecting on events unfolding that day.
We mourn the loss of life that occurred a year ago at the Capitol building.
Vigils popping up across the country. Here in Asheville, a vigil for democracy in downtown's Pack Square, organized by Ann Craig.
I was appalled that fellow Americans would believe the lie that the election was somehow stolen when it was one of the freest and fairest elections and brought out the most people to vote in the history of our country.
Over in Columbus, another vigil taking place, this one in support of those charged following the insurrection.
There have been over 700 arrests pertaining to January 6th made to date.
Look Ahead America organizer Aaron LaCroix calling for better treatment of those still in custody following that day.
It really is about Americans speaking out, having a right to be heard. And because they wanted to be heard, there are some that are being detained.
The Buncombe County Sheriff's Office is seeing an increase in first responders who are in need of mental health services.
News 13's Anjali Patel shows us the program and how it helped save one corporal's life and career.
Corporal Aaron Lawson has seen a lot in his time serving our country and serving our community and his 25 years with the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office.
Valentine's Day of 2017, I worked 5 OD deaths in one night. It's one 12-hour period.
That's my boy. It was difficult not to take the tragedies he saw back home with him.
And you start to get a thing like, you know, just like you're lost, like you're on an island and nobody else around you understands a thing you're going through.
For a long time, though, he says the mentality among law enforcement was not to try and get off that island, but to suppress the trauma.
I had one supervisor back then say, push it down with brown liquor, which you can't.
It's painful in the beginning.
It was.
In 2019, he finally sought help from Rick Baker, an embedded mental health clinician at the sheriff's office. He provides clinical and non-clinical mental health services to not just current members of the sheriff's office, but also retired ones and even their spouses. Baker and his team are strategically located within the sheriff's office's building to increase access to help and normalize asking for it.
Being on site breaks down those barriers, and it removes that stigma that's been in law enforcement for generations, the kind of the suck it up, buttercup stigma. I'm not going to ask for help.
Baker says Lawson is the worst case of PTSD he's treated in his 21 years in this line of work.
He's one of those who grew up in that culture and eventually decided to reach out and ask for help.
He says the culture is changing there, and they're seeing an increase in people asking for help. In 2020, his team conducted 753 counseling sessions. In 2021, that number jumped to 824. And in 2022, he hopes to see those numbers jump even more. And so does Corporal Lawson, an old school guy with a new outlook.
Do not wait, because it will come to you, it will destroy you.